How this got here, go back to my first video and you'll see me building the carcass for it. This video is going to be all about the drawers, how I built them, how I installed them. Relatively a step-by-step process, at least how I do it for this build, is not necessarily how you should build them for maybe a customer or a client kind of thing. But for the garage kind of workspace, it's perfect, it's easy, and it's going to do what I want it to do. Stick around, I'll show you how I built these drawers. So installing these Euro slides, I get a scrap piece of wood, typically always 3/4 of an inch. And I put my slides together. Now I have a shelf for it to sit on, but I need to determine how close I need this edge to the edge of my drawer box. So what I typically do is get another scrap and I determine where I want the face of the drawer to be. And then I slide, hopefully you can see this, slide the slide to where it butts up. Then I get my little mark guide thing here. And I already preset this, so I know when I put this against the face frame and I sit it on top of my scrap piece, this is where I want that side of the slide to be. And then with everything lined up, the front of my drawer is going to be 3/4 of an inch. So now I know that this will be flush here, and it's the proper spot for the slide. Now that I showed you what I was going to do, this is me actually doing it. I use that awl, I think is how you say it, awl, to kind of puncture the wood. This way the little screws has something to grab into. I never drill all the way down. I try to just get it close and then I'll do it by hand. This looks like it takes a long time. If you could tell, I sped it up, but it does go a lot faster once you start figuring out the process. Once you get your bottom track in place, the way I do it, then I measure it from edge to edge. Buying this TrackSaw has made it so much easier for me to break down plywood. This way I don't have to fight with it at my table saw or the old way I did it, which was just a piece of 2x4 and an old saw. So I'm very happy with it. If you're going to do something heavy and you know you're going to need to move it around a lot because you have a small shop, I recommend getting a furniture dolly so you can set it on top of here. And now you can move it out of your way, do your cuts or whatever. Saves your back from trying to pick it up every 5 minutes. So after measuring your tracks and your cutting, now you obviously got to test fit it. Don't ever, with drawers, don't ever just assume it's going to be right. You're always going to be off a little bit. You're always going to need to have a little bit of play. So I always build them one at a time. It takes a little bit more time, but I hate to build all my drawers and then find out the last one is messed up. So I'll do one, I'll build that one, and then the second set, and then the third set. even with this, I measured the track, it was 18.5 inches. This board is just shy of 18.5 inches. So I cut it at 18.5, and then I slowly snuck up to when it was perfect. So now I know that the bases of the drawers are perfect. Now I'll just build the box around it. So now I'm making the walls for the drawer. If I can prevent measuring or get out of measuring, I try to. So this is going to be the wall. I decided 6 inches, or the side of the box. So get my speed square, put it flush to the base, bring that down, make sure that's all snug. Then I get this one, and I get it as close as possible. So now this side is going to go right here, and I'll label them, and I'll do that for each corner. So I showed you the two sides, and you can see the lines now that I put them on there just so I have a reference. And then I also do it on the back side so I know where the screws are supposed to go. I know that's pretty common sense stuff, but it helps me keep track of what I'm doing. Now we need to build the side for the front and the back. And so what I'll do is make sure that whatever material you're using to build up your walls, that these corners are nice and 90s. If you have well, this one's actually decent, but like if you could see it, this corner is not 100% perfect. So it might throw off your measurement when you go from here. So I'll bring this piece right to that line. Now I'll bring it to this side of the line, not this side. Pencil leg gives that extra little 30 seconds, if even that. So I'll bring the wood I'm going to trace to this side, and then when I come over here, then I'll do it right in the middle as perfect as I can. Put your pencil down where you want to draw your line, and then bring your square to it. And then I also like just doing a really light line just to make sure I'm didn't mess anything up. All right, let's see if that works. I bring the board and I put it to this side of the line, and on this end I bring it as perfect to this line as I can get. And then that will get us almost perfect. I mean, it's as good as your tape measure is going to get you. I could be doing all these cuts off of my miter saw, but with my sled, I find that I get better and more accurate, repeatable cuts. I mean, I'm sure it's hard to see, but that line is right there. perfect, and I didn't have to worry about measuring. One more and this one's done.
This is just me marking where I want the screws to go on the back side of that base. Those 90s are not Woodcraft. I found them on Amazon. If you're interested, the link is in my description, but they are awesome. I used to use plastic ones, and man, they are so much better than the plastic ones. Those little squeeze bottles also is something new to my shop. Very cheap. Found them on Amazon. They just seem to work better than the glue bottles that the glue comes in. So I buy the bottles at the store and then I pour them in there, and I never have it clog up the tip. It's just easier. Making sure I make the next set of drawers high enough for my TrackSaw to sit in. And I'll just repeat the process. I'll score the line. I'll bring my 3/4 scrap piece over. I'll clamp it all up. Make sure it's level. Put the tracks back on. Rebuild the base and then the sides. And then I'll go to the top one. The vacuum hose you just saw, I have that wrapped up over my ceiling, but it has the quick release connectors on it. That makes everything easy going from one tool to the other. Right here what I'm showing is that the line, this time instead of it sitting, the track sitting on top of the line, I'm gonna put the track right down the middle of those holes, and that'll be my reference line. Look at that magic. I love that remote start for that dust collection. Plus the motor is so high up I'd never be able to turn it on, so that's why I bought it. Alright, the last set of drawers. So if you don't know this trick, it's awesome. Get some old playing cards, and then you put them around the corners of your drawer face. This gives you a equal spacing all the way around. And then if you have the ability to put a clamp on it, bring it out, and then pre-drill and screw in the box to the face. Make sure the screws are not longer than you need. I've drilled right through the face and I had to redo the whole thing. So double and triple check that. Then I use the calipers, and on the sharp end of it, I just put one side to the center, and I measure out where the screw needs to go, and I kind of push into the wood to leave me an indent. And then I use these brad point drill bits so that that point of the bit will fit right in that hole that I just made. That ensures I get a good alignment with where I need to drill the hole.
All right, so this is the finished product. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm happy the way it came out. I'm glad I have storage spots for these trays. I have enough space down here to hold the track saw. And I think the biggest disappointment I had was I used the wrong stain. It was supposed to be lighter, almost a natural color, and I wanted to have that contrast. But now these are really close together and I don't like it. The more I look at it, of course, the more I'm like, I convince myself to like it, but that's just how it goes. If you're at home thinking about building something for your shop or your house or something, just go and do it. Take those little baby steps and eventually you'll get it done. This probably took me about a week to build. Of course, I have a full-time job, and so it's just whenever I can get out here and do it. But just take the time, do it slowly, and you'll get it. My original plan was, if this is too hard to see, I'll put it in another picture. But this was my original plan. I was supposed to have wheels on it. I was supposed to have more drawers than what I have now. But my biggest concern was I wanted to have enough space for the track saw and my plastic trays right here. Since I got those two checked off the box, overall I'm pretty happy. When you're building projects, just remember it's like making pancakes. The first one never comes out right. So we made it work, we made it look decent, and I'm happy with the end result.